Hey guys, I'm a little sick today. I'm not feeling the best. Thankfully it's not COVID, it's just a cold. But I did get something in the mail. I'm real excited, so I gotta shoot this video. Let's check it out. Alright, so this was sent to me by Ecofreen. My understanding is this is still test product. This is essentially a hot peel DTF transfer film. So instead of having to wait for a cold peel on these transfers, you can press this on immediately after, peel it off, and then press it again for the final press. That way you have no downtime in between. So I'm really excited to test it out. The first thing I notice here is it's a little bit more yellow than a traditional film. It does look like it's the same as the old ones though, where it has a matte side as well as a glossy side here as well. So you print on the matte side. I'm gonna get this all opened up. Not too much to talk about here. These are just, I think, A3 size sheets. I'm gonna go ahead and get my printer turned on, get the heat press on. Let me get everything set up and I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, so I have my printer turned on. I've got my artwork set up. And I have my heat press on. The first thing you're going to want to do per their instructions is to go ahead and just place the film onto the heat press. You're not going to press or anything. This is just to remove any excess moisture. I have it about 290 right now. You could probably do a little bit higher, you could do a little bit lower, whatever works for you. They say just throw it there for a couple seconds, so that should be good. And I am just going to essentially take this and bring it right over to my printer. And these are fairly sizable. I'm gonna get this all squared up and then tape the corners here as well as tape down there. I have my artwork ready. If you're using Garment Creator, right here I'm using Cathari. If you're using Garment Creator, you're gonna wanna use these settings. I'll put them down in the description or maybe down here as well. But essentially it's the same as the video I made previously where you're printing it in reverse, the CMYK layer first, then the white, making sure to reduce the white ink density as well as increasing the color ink density a little bit. So we're gonna get this printed and then, like I said, we're gonna powder it, cure it, test the results. This is pretty much exactly how my film would look if I was printing it on a traditional DTF film. So the next step, what they recommend is to let this dry for at least a minute. And what you can do is you can put it under your heat press for about 30 seconds to a minute to dry up the ink before you powder it. That way when you are powdering it, it doesn't mix with the white layer of ink. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it sit for a minute under the heat press and then powder it. Once I powder it, then we need to cure it, and then we can finally test it. So one of the best ways to use the heat press to cure your DTF films, or to get rid of moisture or whatever, if you don't have a heated lower platen, essentially just let the top heated part lay on the lower platen for a couple seconds, maybe a minute or so, or actually when you're not using it, just let it sit there. That way it kind of warms this whole lower platen up, and then when you are ready to put something on there, you can simply just raise this up. The bottom's going to be already a little bit preheated, and then you can bring your film, place it on there. It's going to get the warmth of the bottom, and then when you hover it like this, you don't have any issues of it touching, but you're still getting the warmth of the top, that remaining warmth from the bottom, and then you can just let it sit there for, like I said, probably about 30 seconds or a minute, and then that will help dry out the ink before I go ahead and powder it. Alright, so I think that should be dry enough. We're going to go ahead and just run the powder over it a little bit like so. You're going to want to flick and shake off any extra powder, so that way you have nice, clean, crisp edges No excess powder in between. We are ready to cure the powder. Alright. So, this looks like it's done. They claim I can do this at 240 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely low, but they have 3 different temperatures you can press this at. They say 250, press it for 10 seconds, 290, press it for 10 seconds, and if you're running it at 320 Fahrenheit, press it for 5 seconds. So I'm gonna try to low end on that, press it for 250 for 10 seconds, and then do the hot peel. See if I can just press it, peel it immediately, and then repress it, see how long that lasts. Right now I'm waiting for this to cool down to 250. I'll bring you guys back, and then I'll be pressing on my shirt when it hits that temperature. So we have my heat press, it's at 250. I have the transfer, and I have my shirt ready. I did pre-press it just to get all the moisture out of the shirt, but with that being said, this is gonna be the final result. This is gonna be the first time seeing it for me as well. So I'm just gonna hit it at a 4 pressure for about 10 seconds, about a medium pressure. And then once we lift it up, uncut, I'm going to peel it immediately and see how well it does. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. Okay, so 10 seconds, get rid of that, pull this out a little bit, and I'm just gonna immediately peel this. And wow, that's gonna save so much time. So here's what the film looks like after. Completely transparent on the part that the transfer came through. And there's the transfer itself. So it has pretty much very similar texture to the other transfers that I've done. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it again for the 5 seconds for the final transfer, or for the final press. That way I can kind of check it out off the heat press here. All right. Yeah, I mean, that feels good. That feels like a regular transfer. The only thing really is to see how long it'll hold up over time. But it's not cracking or anything right off the heat press. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm really happy with that. I'm shocked how well that works, actually. That's just funny. But I probably would rip the shirt before I rip this film, the transfer. So, yeah, I mean, if it holds up over time with the wash tests, man, I'll probably just switch this because, I mean, there's no waiting. So yeah, I'm really happy Ecofreen allowed me the opportunity to test out their hot peel films because I'm really excited to use these. The biggest thing is not having to wait. Obviously, that's the biggest difference, but I didn't see necessarily a downside of it. I do appreciate the opportunity to be able to test some of this stuff out. So if you do have any questions, let me know. Ecofreen, thank you guys for letting me test this out, specifically David, who sent me these samples. So I hope you learned something or at least found it entertaining. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to. Otherwise, take care. Bye-bye.